Hello, everybody. Welcome to Teaching Time with Tommy. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, my weekly meltdowns coverage of Survivor 39. Here we are at the finale. Of course, it was way past Allison's bedtime last night, so that's why we're recording today. But Allison has more important commitments tonight with Star Wars. So this shows who the true patrons of this show are right here. We have, of course, Deb as always, and the wonderful Beth with me today. Man, we have a lot to go through here. Of course, we can kind of just like talk about the finale a little bit. I think we've been talking about this for weeks, how we all thought the end of the season would go. I mean, I've said for weeks now it's going to be Janet at 5, Lauren at 4, losing and fire making, and that's exactly what happened. But one cool thing was I like how they brought all of them to the island of the idols. I thought that was pretty cool. It was, and of course, Tommy, that's the first time he's beating Rob and Sandra, and it's funny that like the eventual winner of the season is the one person that didn't get any advice from either of them.
Yeah. I mean, you looked at whoever went, and like oftentimes they were either the next or like within the next couple of people to go. So there, I mean, the people who were in the final 5 were really testaments, except for Dean. He was like the last person, I think, out of that 5 to go.
Yeah.
I think the rest of them, I mean, Janet probably did the best job in like not taking the challenge that Rob gave them. And then Lauren did a really good job. So the people who were in that final 5 who went, there was testament to their games that they were able to outplay, outlast to get there. But Island of the Idols was kind of like Island of the Curse.
But I don't blame them. I feel like that's probably a result of them not being able to like talk about what actually happened there. You know, how are you supposed to trust anybody that goes there and then comes back and is like literally every single person was like, I played the game, but I lost, and that's it. Like,
I lost.
Yeah, sorry. Whoops. Sorry.
Nothing happened.
I can't even. So, like, that's something I actually wanted to talk about with you guys.
Yeah.
You guys noticed that when they were walking up, Tommy was like, "Oh, this is where they were." So, like, clearly they'd either clued him in, like, on the way over to the island.
Because he wasn't shocked to see Sandra.
Yeah.
He's like, "I get to hug them first, right?"
And Rob,
So I wish we could have seen when Tommy found out, whether it was like before they went or on the way there, or if it's just been like wildly known for a little while that people are coming back with, you know, cock and bull stories.
I feel like probably at nighttime, like when the cameras are off is when they're like, you know, sharing like campfire stories and
so here's what's really happening.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure this is not the first, he probably had to put on his poker face and, you know, as much as he hates lying in this game, you know, he lied pretty well with that poker face.
He lied quite a bit.
Does anybody else think that Dean should have won?
I do. I really honestly do.
Yep.
I think that he kind of was not aggressive enough with the other two, with throwing them under the bus and you know, like trashing their game. You know, because he could have said to Tommy, like, at what point did you realize that I wasn't a goat and that I actually had game?
Yeah.
He did come to that realization. He was, oh shit.
Right. I think that Dean's problem, the reason why Tommy won and Dean didn't, ultimately came down to Tommy had so much more finesse in answering questions at Tribal Council. And it's not even the content in which he was saying, because I thought Dean was bringing a lot of great content. It's just that Dean's not as good of a speaker, or, you know, to bring it to sequester talk. He doesn't talk good enough to be the winner. And to your point, Deb, I think that there's things he could have said or ways he could have phrased things in order to, you know, really get people onto his side. But I think Tommy did a really good job of taking everything that he was saying with every jab. And he would say things kind of, you know, defensively, but never over the top passionate. And sometimes Dean would get like almost desperate with saying something like, look at all the stuff I had. Like, isn't this cool? Like, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, you brought down the cool factor just a tad bit. Like, the confidence would just eke through a little bit more. It would have been great.
I mean, maybe I'm just like digmatized by Dean a little bit here, but I thought he did a fantastic job, kind of owning his shit. Not only did he say like, I was the one who found all of these advantages, but I didn't even need to play them because of my place in the game. Why does every winner, why does every like revered person from the jury standpoint have to be a Rick Devens, like loud as fuck, like just running around like a child throwing a tantrum type of thing? It doesn't need to be like that. I mean, Dean played a fantastic game, and he was very fluid with his alliances the whole time. He was pretty good socially. I thought if he dug in a little bit more to Tommy, and I feel like he did to Nora to the proper extent, but there's a point where it can get too mean and it can backfire, and there have certainly been plenty of examples that we've seen in Survivor history of that happening.
It's all about how you say it. The other thing is, not only did he have all of that bling and all those, things that he didn't need to use, all the advantages, but he also got them and didn't let anybody else use them, because he got that idol that Tommy was looking for.
That was amazing. I loved
said nothing that. And said nothing.
Great. Yeah.
Like, because what was Tommy going to do with that?
Yeah.
And so that's the question. He could have made a game move, but he didn't allow him to make any game moves.
Yeah. The sad part is like Tommy just sees like Dean saying, "Oh man, I'll help you look, but I have to go take a poop." What he doesn't see is like we see Dean in confessional saying, I'm gonna like have him think that I'm like not helping him. I'm just being lazy and like not really caring, but I'm using this information to my advantage. And guess what? It worked out for him. Like that alone was a game-winning move, because like Tommy is the biggest competition out there for him. My vote like absolutely would have been for Tommy, but I feel like my
vote would have voted for Tommy.
Oh, I'm sorry. For Dean. Sorry.
I was like,
I would have voted for Dean.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like it's been a while since I've voted. Like my objective vote would be for the winner. I mean, last season I would have voted for Gavin. The season before that, I went on record saying I would have voted for Angelina in that final three.
I would have too.
Yeah, she's played a fantastic game. So I don't know what it is about just these. I feel like it really boils down to just very simply like who do you feel best about? Who do you like the most?
I don't think it was a like thing. I think
then what was it?
It was a game thing. He played a good game. Dean played a better game than Tommy did.
Oh, Dean. No. Okay, I thought you meant Tommy. I'm sorry.
No. Dean played a much better game than Tommy did. He made more moves.
I think what Tyler's saying, though, is that I think at the end of the day, the jury ended up voting for who they liked more.
Yeah.
I think that they liked Tommy more. And I think that that's true, because even though there was a pretty good distribution of both old Vokai and Lyro on there, Tommy was connected to almost every single one of them throughout the entirety of the game. And in one way or another, whether he was put on the original tribe, the second tribe, or at some point in everything, he managed to not be a controversial character in anybody's plans. And the fact, and they pointed this out at the reunion, that everybody would say, well, I've got Tommy on my side. That's a real testament to his social game. And it also is a testament to the likability. And if you're going to, it was crazy to me that neither Dean nor Nora nor Lauren considered getting rid of Tommy.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, what I was just going to say was if I were Dean in that final five, instead of playing the idol nullifier, or I would have played the idol nullifier potentially just to get there, but I also would have considered using my idol on Lauren and voting a lone vote for Tommy and not using the idol nullifier to get Tommy out at that point. Because are you going to beat Tommy at the end? I think that people were afraid of Janet, and I'm like...
And the thing is, Lauren didn't make any moves.
No, she didn't.
No.
I was very disappointed with Lauren in this last episode, to be frank.
I mean, really
that tantrum that she had with Nora, the fact that she didn't make fire at all over Survivor, like these past 39 days.
Who doesn't try to make fire?
Right. Like, how entitled are you to be mad at Nora for, like throwing you a bone, saying like, I'm giving you time to prepare for this. Best of luck. May the best man or woman win. Poor sportsmanship.
Yeah, it was definitely poor sportsmanship. And I would also say, like, I mean, what better way to fuel your competition than to throw a tantrum and like not be confident but like you're supposed to be like an intimidating force. You should be like, you know what, this sucks. I really thought we had something, but you know what, I'm going to use this fuel to literally light a fire.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think tears are a very good kindling for fire. So cut that shit out.
That's not gasoline.
Right.
How rude was the jury to Nora?
I think so I've been saying like all season long, I think she deserves a little bit more respect and should be taken a little bit more seriously than it comes across. There were certainly times where she really extended the olive branch to everybody on her tribe. Like, remember when she won the reward and she was like, can I give it to everybody else instead?
Yep.
She won, I think, 3 immunities.
Maybe she wanted to hang on to that thing just so they can eat more.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, she's kooky and crazy, but she's certainly like not mean about it. Like Debbie or like Coach or like Philip, like those type of characters. She's a very sincere and sweet person. And I think that she deserved like at least like 1 vote.
I do too. I was talking about this with a colleague tonight, and I was saying, if I could be honest, and I think that the real gamer in me wouldn't have given her a vote, just because I don't think besides winning immunities, she really did a lot to say I'm the winner of Survivor. However, I will say, I think that it's, this is how many tribals or final tribals in a row where like there's 2 men and a woman, and the woman doesn't even get a vote at the end. And I'm not trying to make this just about gender, but I'm just trying to point out that there was a final 5 where the majority were women, and that the women were seen as threats except for Nora. And then they were like, well, we'll take the GOAT Nora along, or in this case, she actually will take 2 guys along, and then they're going to be the ones that will beat her. Like there's that kind of feel happens a lot. And if it was a guy who was going crazy, if you think about like Philip or something, like people like ultimately gave him props for playing a game like that.
Right.
They don't do that with women.
It's a double standard. And you absolutely can make this about gender, because this is now the longest stretch of Survivor history of male winners. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
I just asked the question, like, we did see a lot of craziness with Nora. I mean, she definitely played a game of chaos. And the thing is, what did we not see? That they were so nasty to her that why the jury just shut her down. She could barely speak. They didn't want to hear anything from her.
I was thankful for Kelly, who kind of would either mitigate what people were trying to say in a nice way to Nora, or at the very least would be like, I think that we all make emotional decisions in this game, and that's a part of it. And it's trying to navigate your emotional decisions. So could you tell us how you did that? Like I appreciated Kelly for breaking it down on that level, because you're in a high pressure situation. Right. Nora just got off winning the final immunity challenge and making her decisions and going to the finals, and to sit there and have everybody shit on you is such a change in the direction of the wind. To have someone who just kind of throws you a bone and says, I understand you're an emotional person, and literally what they're doing right now is gaslighting you because they know you're an emotional person, to have an emotional outburst in order to justify not voting for you. So I appreciated that Kelly kind of gave her the break and said, let's break this down.
I just want to say hi to all the people in the chat, because we haven't done that yet. We have Joseph, Sean, Jen, Chase, Mars, as always. That's it. Carlitos, Green. Thank you guys all. Norma, thank you guys all for tuning in, as always.
Our Christmas trees up too.
I know, right? How festive. And we all made the right decision. I just want to go on the record and say I hate colored Christmas lights. White lights are the way to go. They are classy as fuck. It's not like this like tacky, like ugly mess. It just makes everything look nice and timeless and festive and warm. So I'm glad you guys are all on the right side of history.
I also think that it's just at nighttime, there's nothing better than a warm white light.
Yes. Yeah.
If you have Technicolor going on, I can't get into that peaceful relaxation like I can when I turn off everything over here.
Exactly. Yes. Let's see what else here. So I guess that's it. I mean, where does Tommy like fall amongst like the winners of the season for you? Because one thing I will say about him is he's the first winner since Denise to have not won any kind of advantage or idol and still win the game, which is one good thing.
For me, he kind of falls on the level of like Michelle Fitzgerald.
Ooh, that low. I think he's lower mid-tier for me. So I would say like out of the 40 people, he would rank around 22-ish for me. And I think because he played a good game, like he had a very socially dominant game. And I do think that there were times where production really pushed it for us, like whether it was just giving him more confessionals or something. Like I think that sometimes they were really pushing a Tommy narrative in order for it to make sense at the end. But I mean, you can't deny every person thought they had Tommy in their pocket at some point. Every person relied on him, and he manipulated and lied to his closest allies, wasn't afraid to cut them, and did what he needed to do to win. And in my case, he's not a bad winner. He's just not the person I think should have won this particular game when up against him.
Right.
No, I get that. Like, I'm not mad that he won. But
to be frank, I think
deserved it more.
I think Dean probably would have been around the same ranking in terms of like where the winners fall.
He had a couple more impressive moves than
but I don't think that he had as much control over the narrative and the people and where they were going as Tommy probably did.
But he had to fight more.
Yeah, no, that I agree.
Right.
I think the best thing that happened to him in the game was having Chelsea get voted out so early, because if they had held on, I don't think, first of all, Kelly definitely wouldn't have given him her idol in order to save him. So there's that. He would not be in the game. But I really do believe, like, he laid out in Final Tribal Council exactly what his game was from at least my perspective, which was he really relied on the kindness of strangers for like a long time. And then fourth quarter hit and boom, 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 boom. Just did everything he needed, got every trinket that he could, won immunity challenges. Like, he had a really great end of the game. But there's a part of me that's like, as impressive as it is that you did all that and you had your back up against the wall for so long, like, what were you doing that was so poor to have your back up against the wall in the beginning part of the game? So, but I do think that
sometimes you're just on the wrong end of a merge or whatever.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. And he was able to recover to a point like where he was no longer the target, but he also wasn't involved with the decision making. So I agree that, I mean, I think he should have won personally, but I also, I don't think that would make him like the best winner in the world if he had won, nor do I think it would have made him the worst.
Yeah. Mars says he's the type of winner I won't remember 2 to 3 years from now. I would agree with that. I mean, we're not going to be talking about him like we talked about Kim Spradlin or Denise Stabley winning season 40.
That's right.
So. So a lot of people in the chat are starting to talk about the reunion, so we can talk about that before we get to the Kelly and Dan of it all.
Can we talk about the Sia Award?
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So for those that missed, Sia gave out a cash prize to 3 people this year. Wow. The first was Jamal, $15,000. And I think that probably has a lot to do with like the really tasteful conversation about race and educating white people on their privilege.
And just being an overall like decent human being.
Yeah.
God, Jamal is what every man should be.
Yes.
He not only had that wonderful conversation about race, but then the next episode was one of the few people who had stood up for women and like called out a women's alliance. And then also simultaneously was able to say, you know what? I was wrong. I had a privilege as a man that I'm wrong about. And now hearing women, like, I'm thankful to have had this conversation. You don't hear that all the time with people with privilege. And it's a really refreshing way to, you saw him on both sides of the coin. You saw him as someone with privilege in a situation. You saw him as someone who was in a marginalized identity in another.
A very complex, like a very deep thinking, intellectual, humble person. And and you're right, Deb. He is absolutely like a very like respectable man. And reality TV does not see a lot of that. So it's quite refreshing when we get one. on the flip side of that, of course, on the other person in that conversation, Jack, decided not to attend the reunion with Elizabeth because of the hate that Elizabeth got on social media, probably. But for anybody that doesn't know, Jack and Elizabeth are dating now. So he.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that. $10,000 mistake on their part.
They kind of look more like brother and sister to me, but I guess if you're into that kind of thing, whatever.
You know, they get paid $10,000 just to show up at the.
Yeah, and I think it's bullshit that both of them didn't go.
If you're together, that's $20,000.
Yeah.
Show up and just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to talk about Elizabeth. She's an Olympian.
Yeah.
Like, you made a mistake. You've apologized for it.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to be there when there's going to be further conversation happening. It actually shows a bigger character to show up and be there.
Yes.
Missy did not show up.
Missy showed up. Yeah.
Aaron showed up.
And I would say Missy got more shit on social media than Elizabeth.
And guess what? They didn't spotlight them and embarrass them. And they didn't do any of that.
No.
Just didn't address them. And they didn't address a lot of people, but that's fine.
Yep.
But, put your big girl panties on and show the fuck up.
Right. Like, it's not that bad for you to, like, get a little bit of shit for something pretty terrible that you did.
And they didn't get any shit.
Yeah, I mean, like compared to compared to what Dan did, like your actions are like, they're bad, but they're not like despicable. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Her actions,
it was kind of despicable.
Well, you know what I mean. It's
despicable, but they were actions that you learn from. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's going to help set up people in future Survivor, Big Brother, reality, whatever games to be able to have that ethical line that they kept talking about at Final Tribal Council.
Exactly.
What line would you or would you not have crossed?
Right.
And now this is going to add to everybody's lexicon about moving forward about what is that ethical line.
Yeah.
And how you should or shouldn't use gameplay in the future.
Yeah.
And if by showing up, it just shows that you stand by being sorry for what you did and that you're standing in solidarity with Kelly or with the rest of your tribe mates, that you own the actions of your game when you show up to a reunion.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And that Facebook or Twitter statement that you made was nothing more than a canned statement, and you're not really sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry, especially this time around when we knew that Dan wasn't going to be there, wouldn't be allowed to be there. When you don't show up, you show that you're almost in solidarity with him.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Beth. So not impressed with Elizabeth, not impressed with Jack. Because of that, I don't really care to see either of them on Survivor screen again, and I doubt that we will. But of course, Sia also gave $100,000 to Elaine and to Janet, and I think that's great. Of course, my question was like, what about Kelly?
Yep. Same.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Kelly's reaction, and I think that she was probably thinking that as well, but she still had on like a good, like poised face about it all. I wonder, I would love to see like a statement from Sia, but then again, like with these kind of things, like you have to tread carefully because nobody's guaranteed this. Like we have to remember it's like a special like gift. Like a gift should be given
to
with
her favorite. They're her favorite players.
Yeah.
Kelly might not have been necessarily one of her favorite players.
Yeah.
And that's that's unfortunate. And also should just to give her the money, just make it look like, oh, here you were sexually harassed. Here's a consolation prize.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little insulting, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think what should be done is I definitely think Kelly should be invited back to actually play her game.
I wonder if she will though, because like on Twitter, she's been pretty understandably vocal about her disappointment. Her disappointment with CBS.
But if you see the way Jeff questioned her and talked to her, he actually invited her to be critical of him.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll use that as a transition to start talking about this now. So Jeff started that. Of course, like we cleared the stage. It was like just seats with Jeff and Kelly one-on-one, and I understand why Kelly was so nervous. Like she's like it's a lot of weight. Like she's like so many Survivor fans are looking for proper closure on a horrible situation and looking to Kelly to be the voice for them. But she's also thinking like, Dan might be suing CBS, and I have to be careful with what I say for legal reasons, but I also don't want to disappoint the fans by giving like fair weather answers, but also making sure that CBS and Jeff know the seriousness of it's just a lot of different things, with millions of people watching you. It's a lot.
I just think it was really good the way Jeff owned everything.
Yeah, and I think that gave Kelly a little bit more comfort to really speak what she said, because he started off by saying we got it wrong, and Kelly, you were right.
Yeah. I think that I think this is a situation where you really see how good of a host Probst is. Like, he really is somebody who takes emotional intelligence and puts it into a conversation. And when she said, I'm very nervous, and explained why she was nervous, he was able to say, okay, let me ask you some questions, and kind of like, instead of,
do you have any grievances with me or with production?
And like, that is
great.
Like, that is giving her full permission. I know you're nervous. What are your grievances? Air them out with me, with production. What are things that we can use to learn to move forward? Like those, what a wonderful way to put it. Because if you're Kelly in that situation, I don't care what they've told you 50,000 times ahead of time. When you get out there, you can say whatever you want, because I'm sure they did. When you sit there and the cameras are on and there are people watching you in the audience, and there are people are going to see this at home, you're going to get nervous, and you're going to say, I don't know if I really can say what I want to say, and I really know I need to.
And he gave her the license to.
He gave her the license to multiple times, and fed her like the ability to do so. Julie Chen would never. Just putting that out there.
Big Brother would never.
No, Big Brother would never. Oh my God,
no.
Yeah, that is a very good point, Beth. And Jeff took it even a step further. He said, when we met with the cast to give them that warning, we weren't transparent enough.
Yep.
And he admitted that cast members were saying to production that they're keeping Dan around because of this situation. They know he won't get any votes in the end, and they want to sit next to him in the finale. Yep. And that kind of encouraged the decision to remove him from the game. And I will say, this was the only episode without Dan this season, and this final five was wonderful. And it's a shame that this really dark gray cloud followed us the entire season, when if you just took that cloud out of the sky, we have a beautiful sunshine of a cast that could have been.
But then there would have never been change.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that what I'm interested in seeing, and that this has been something that's been brought up a lot in recent seasons, this is the most diverse cast in terms of people of different ethnic backgrounds, racial backgrounds, and gender, sexuality. Yeah. Right. And one thing I'm interested in seeing is there's a real conversation that needs to be had about the ability for people of color specifically to be able to win this game. It is much harder. And when they make a cast more diverse, obviously that's helpful in a variety of different ways socially. But you see a lot of recent cast members over the past few seasons who are vocal about the way that they felt like they were treated, both in a one-on-one confessional mode and also within the context of the game. And so while they're going to have this wonderful conversation and learn and try to make the show better in this kind of way when it comes to unwanted touching or behavioral issues, they really also need to be taking a look at what can we do? How can we be something that society needs to look towards in order to push the envelope and making this a more inclusive game?
Yeah. And I think the answer to that is a more diverse production team.
Ding, ding, ding. Yep.
So that they have all types of different perspectives of where this person could be, where Jamal could be coming from, where Kelly could be coming from, where I don't know, where Elaine could be coming. You know what I mean? But
the thing is that these games are also a social experiment and a reflection of society, and sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think that when it's a reflection of society, what Survivor is doing now, right, is they said, oh, wow, we just reflected in used within the context of the game, or that people were using within the context of the game, something that is a big deal and is wrong, and we need to fix that. And they're going to move forward and try to do that, which I think is fantastic. And I think if they could continue to do that with other social identities, with other kinds of issues, then it kind of works the other way around. So the audience then gets to say, oh, like, for example, they did not have to put that conversation between Jamal and Jack in the show at all, but they chose to do that. And it
takes so much time with it too. It wasn't even a quick segment.
So what I'm saying is, like, they're doing things. I think they're listening to their cast members over the past couple of years. They're hearing about some of the things that they need to improve upon, and they're slowly making those changes. And then something like as big as the whole Dan situation for this cycle really showed them how it impacts the play of the game. So what I'm hoping that they figure out is, okay, not just airing this stuff out to show as a reflection of society, but how can they help fix the rules so that it's a more inclusive. I don't want to say diverse. Diversity is different from inclusion.
Yes.
So you want to be more inclusive with the gameplay. So that's, I guess, what I'm saying.
And I just want to be very clear, because some people in the chat are arguing back and forth about like whether Dan did do anything or whether he was just being.
Oh, he did.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
And some people in the chat are saying like they should very clearly state to us what happened. I don't think they can do that for legality reasons.
Sure.
I that would probably get CBS in a lot of trouble if they made I don't know like legal terms too well, but like libel is probably a thing. Like making like a straight out like defamatory statement about like what was happening, and also just like respect to any victims of this situation.
Yes.
It's
I think it's out of more respect for the victim.
It's already humiliating that this happened, unfortunately, and to flat out say like Dan like touched like a body part and like list that body part.
Right.
I don't think that's very, very classy, very couth.
I was having a really good conversation with my mom that got a little tense last week because we were watching the episode together, and she was very much of the opinion that was like, well, you know, we didn't see this, and then people were using this as gameplay. So like there was not that what Dan did was okay, but just like understanding like production can only do so much with the information that they're given. Whereas I was like, he should have been thrown out from the game from the first jump, but whatever. Like, that was my opinion.
And just because you don't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's just they didn't edit it in.
Right. And just because some other people then say this isn't a big deal to me and I'm using it as gameplay and open about that, I'm talking about Missy and Elizabeth, that kind of thing, doesn't mean that Kelly, who it did offend, like if one person is affected by it, that should be it, you know?
Yes.
So I took it back and I likened it. I work at a university and I was talking about Title IX, right? So in Title IX, there are rights of both the accused and the victim. So you might be separated out, right? If you're accused of sexual assault, for example, you might be suspended from campus or something like that. But you are also entitled to all of your own resources, a fair investigation, trial, that kind of thing. But we also need to do things that are right by the victim. And whatever the victim wants to do is what the course of action will be. So it turns into two different sides of that, where you want to be innocent till proven guilty and give them their chance. But if they're a threat to other people, you need to remove them from that situation and then investigate from there. So that's what I was saying, that this is probably something that they'll likely be doing in the future. Sorry, that was so long-winded.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's a very important issue. And it would be one thing if it were just allegations, but the fact that we got like montages of him. And so looking over, like now that this season is closed, we have like the full picture of what happened, what consequences that Dan received from all of this. What I think should have happened was the first day, like the first episode when Kelly warned him about it, that's when he should have gotten a warning from production.
100%.
That's when that should have happened. And then when the merge shit happened is when they should have pulled him.
Agreed. Also, when they kept getting confessionals and also catching people on camera talking wow, this is really weird. Why was Dan putting his leg over me at night? Why was he touching my toe at the merge feast? All those different kinds of things. They should have proactively taken him off to the side and said, we already warned you about this. Like, people have not come to us. We are proactively saying, we are seeing this, we are hearing this, you need to stop. And that should have been addressed way earlier. And the fact is, like, there's people who have come out and said they didn't know what this was about. There were people who, as Jeff was,
because nobody was talking.
Yeah, nobody was
Everybody
talking.
was kind of keeping it to themselves. And now in the end, when it's all out, then everybody's like, oh, everybody's now really feeling violated, because now they're realizing it wasn't just, you know, him touching you here or touching you there. He was doing it to everybody.
And this is only what we saw, you know, like imagine like what else like could have happened, you know. Let's keep in mind, like, any like Big Brother Survivor person will tell like any of us that are recapping it, like, oh, you don't know the whole story, like you only saw like a 40-minute episode every week. And I just want to clarify, because Sean in the chat is just a little upset. I didn't say that you are accusing him of not doing these things or anything, but I think we're just disagreeing a little bit on the severity of it and the consequences that should have happened. So, but I respect your opinion either way. And thank you guys for all being in the chat with us. Right.
Unless you have ever been on the receiving end of sexual harassment, sexual assault, you won't understand.
Yes.
And I do think that it's like we were saying, and I think that this is where Sean's coming from too. It is important. This is a hard area to navigate, because a lot of what happens with different kinds of assault, whether it be sexual in nature or not, it's normally things that it's he said, she said kind of thing. And in this case, we had video evidence of everything, but we also had people who were using it as gameplay, which then, you know, delegitimized it for some people. And so this is a really hard gray area to, in some ways, I'm talking about from production, not from my standpoint, to navigate. And so making sure that you're doing right by both the person who is perpetrating the touching and the victim or victims is an important thing that they need to figure out. And it sounds like they're on their way to doing so.
Yeah.
And I also think the fact that the players were admitting that they were going to take him to the finals because no one would vote for him.
Yeah, Jeff said that.
Yes, that is absolutely one of the top reasons to remove him from the game.
Yeah.
Right. Who's somebody?
It's clouding gameplay too. You know, it's clouding.
Oh, absolutely. And to use someone that is sexually, you know, harassing or assaulting people, and then using that as gameplay.
Yeah.
As a reason to take somebody to the end.
Right.
That is so morally reprehensible. I can't even begin.
So before moving on to the amazing promo that we got to see, I'll give this to Allison. She had
Can we talk about Allison?
Allison
not only had the first place, but also the runner-up as well, with Andrew coming in third. So me and Kim are the big old losers this season, but that's okay, because life goes on, right?
And how many times has Allison picked the winner?
This is the second time. She, in case anybody doesn't know, I don't think Allison's ever mentioned this on the show ever, but she picked the winner of Ghost Island, Wendell. Again, we've never heard that before ever on the show, so that's breaking news to everybody.
Yes.
She's so humble about that.
She is. She really is. God bless her.
And next season, I am all Team Wendell.
Well, that is a really good transition.
I love Wendell.
So we got an amazing promo for next year. Of course, we, My Weekly Meltdown, did a preseason draft once we got the cast. But I got to say, like, I was telling Beth before we went on, I was having like dreams about this promo on Tuesday night, like the night before the finale, because I am just so excited. Like, what a legacy. What a statement for just Survivor's history as a franchise. So of course I'm talking about Winners at War. We have 20 previous winners back for one like ultimate showdown of the winners. And somebody on Twitter posted like a neat little picture of all of them. Cool. I loved the promo shots that they showed of everybody. Like, it's so like old school Survivor.
Who do you vote out first? Who do you vote out first?
Oh, man, I feel like we could do. Okay, so here's what I think we should do for preseason coverage. I think that we should do a show talking about the men and then talking about the women.
Yes.
Because honestly, we could do like a whole show just on this promo. But so I don't want to be here like dampering any preseason coverage. But I am so excited about this cast. And of course, we saw like it's always really interesting to me who they pick to show in these trailers for the next upcoming season. Really gives you a hint in terms of who is going to be big characters of the season. Of course, we heard a lot from Tony. We heard a lot from Rob. Who else did we hear from?
I would vote his ass out first. Rob says.
You heard a little bit from Adam and a little bit from Yule, I think.
From Ben as well.
Ben.
Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
We had a line from Sarah Parvati.
It's all Michelle.
You know what? They didn't do a lot of women, to be honest.
No, they didn't. They had a lot of shots of Danny. But she didn't say anything.
You know what? This is the one thing I wish they would have made it so that you could have seen everybody's photo, because they did it so fast. I had to watch it so many times so I could pause and look at everybody's photo.
Right.
That's the only thing. I was like, I don't even care if it takes 30 seconds out of a 1-minute trailer. Give me the photos
exactly.
Stuff. I just want to see them. Yeah.
So I actually wrote down. I rewatched the video of our preseason cast draft. Just to go through who has who again, because I'm a little more worried about my team now. I'm not as high on my choices now as I was a couple months ago. So Allison has Tyson, Sandra, Sarah, Tony, and Ben. Alex Kidwell has Denise, Amber, Kim, Wendell, and Rob.
Oh shit.
Kim Matina has Ethan, Natalie, Yule, Parvati, Nick.
That's an underrated team.
And I have Adam, Danny, Sophie, Jeremy, and Michelle.
I like your team. Okay, so if I had to choose Deb, I want you to do this too. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you had to choose your 5.
Oh God.
Who would you choose? And if you want, I can go, because I've been thinking about this.
See, but I would choose people that I've met. I would probably choose people that I've met.
Well, let's hear yours first.
Because, and here's the thing, they're probably all working together,
right? Yeah,
because they go to the events.
That's true. That's something to keep in mind. If I were to go through, I would say my number 1 pick is Denise.
Yes, she is my somebody stole them in the draft, so I couldn't get her first. Yep. But she is like my if I had to pick like one winner pick for this, it's her.
Totally. I also would do Natalie, Sarah, Adam, and Jeremy. The reason why I chose Sarah and Jeremy, and this might come back to bite me in the ass, is because both of them came back in a game where it was all previous people before, so they know how to navigate playing with people who have played the game before.
Sophie has also worked with returning players as well.
That's true, but hers wasn't an entire cast of all returning players. Versus Sarah and Jeremy both have, and they both played incredible social games, taking advantage of the advantages that were newer to that season. Yeah. So I think that both of them have kind of a leg up in that area. And if I were sitting there, they would be early targets for me. I'm not going to lie. But here's what's also interesting, like, as Deb brought up with people who go to events together, like, you also have to think about, like, Denise and Sarah are both from Iowa. Yeah. The same city, I think. And so, like, there's little things like that, like people who are from the same city that you might not realize. Are they together? Or would they be together? You know, those kind of things.
Yeah. I was saying to you, Beth, beforehand, that I think that Denise's age isn't really going to work in her favor. This is a very older swinging cast. I think there's only 4 cast members in their 20s out of.
I was just noticing there's no real physical threats, like
physical threats,
like beasts.
Oh, I don't know about that, Deb.
Male
Kim Spradlin, Tyson. I think those are probably the two biggest ones.
Yul, not that bad of a.
Yeah, Yul. Yul looks like he hasn't aged a day.
I met Tyson. He doesn't seem so.
Honestly, he was on a big comp run in Blood versus Water.
I also wouldn't count out. Adam won a few different immunity challenges. Denise is like does like sprint marathons all the time. Like
Denise looks like the like really buff. So
Denise could kick my ass.
Beast. Yes, she probably could.
5 foot of all muscle. And also, I wouldn't like Natalie has won quite a few strength-based competitions herself. Like,
if you follow her on Instagram, she's like a CrossFit like queen. Yeah. She is crazy.
But didn't she just have a baby?
I don't think
she did. She just had a baby. Yeah.
That's all right. That's okay. I think she's still. I think she's still good.
Come back from babies, be stronger.
Exactly. Right. I think I remember Sandra in Heroes versus Villains. She's like, I went through childbirth, all natural. This ain't nothing for me. I think she said that to Rupert in a challenge.
Oh my god! I love it.
She said, "No aspirin," is what she said.
No aspirin.
Yeah. And of course, Melissa's saying in the chat, Sandra, Rob, Parvati, Tyson all did Heroes versus Villains together. Of course, this is the 3rd season that Sarah and Tony have played together, which I find hilarious. So yeah, very curious where like these pockets of like people that are a little disconnected, like Yul, Kim, Danny. Right. I'm so interested to see Danny play again. Man,
I'm actually interested. You had Sophie on your team. I'm also very interested to see her play because I went back and watched South Pacific like a couple months ago, and I was like, I forgot how much she's kind of a mixed bag for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she's early boot.
Yeah, I think she could be early boot, or she could be someone that, just like she did in her season, could be really quiet and be brought along.
Yeah. Deb, who are your 5?
Well, I'm definitely going with Wendell and Jeremy because, I know.
Because why?
And Adam, because I know him. And they're all going to be working together.
Okay.
So they have.
I just don't want people to connect the dots the wrong way.
And Nick is working together. Nick, he's going to be working with them too. So I'm going to put him in there. So
wait, what are they working on?
Huh?
On Deb's house.
Yeah, that's are they working on you, Deb? Is that what's happening?
No.
Deb's not fixed.
No, Deb's not fixed, but no, I haven't gotten down with any of that. I don't do that. You don't shit where you live.
Listen, you gotta live there. Just like.
Listen, Deb, we're not going to talk about the Big Brother 20 premiere party. If you know what I mean.
Hey. The Big Brother 20 premiere party, what? I was in bed with you.
I know, but before that, I'm talking about me.
Where's the fan? That's me right there.
So real quick, last question about this cast. I mean, who are, if you had to list like just a couple people that you are like most excited to see back and playing, like who stands out to you? Natalie?
I love Natalie. I love her.
I can't wait to see what Kim is like in this crowd.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited for Kim and Danny. I cannot believe that we get to see those two play again. We get to see Ethan play again. I mean, we have like 19 amazing winners in Ben. So I really can't wait to see what happens.
Okay. But out of all these people, who do you think is the biggest target that should be targeted first?
It has to be Rob or Sandra, especially because these people know about Edge of Extinction because, they know about Island of the Idols. Because they saw the promo for that at the end of Edge of Extinction airing before they went to go film. So they know that like these two have like just spent like all this time together. I'm sure they're strategizing. I'm sure their plan is probably going to be, let's stick together. Like we need each other as big targets instead of soloing each other, because see what happened to Sandra and Tony when they went after each other in Game Changers. They needed each other and they didn't realize it.
I think that you'd be dumb to keep. Rob needs to be the first one to go for that reason, and also his fucking wife is in the game.
Right, you have 2 chances at $2 million.
That's right.
Yes,
literally. Like you need. If you're the red team, you go after Amber first. Sorry about it. If you're the blue team, you go after Rob first, and then it's equal playing field for the rest of the game.
Yeah. How do you guys think Parvati's going to do?
I'm interested. She's somebody that is similar to.
I can see her getting deep, like once again. Like she is just such a capable Survivor player.
I think with this crowd, people will go after her though.
I think that so from what I hear, let's just say in private groups, she's quite the bitch.
That's fine.
And not very well liked. So that could put a target on her.
Listen, she wasn't on the villains tribe on accident, and I'm okay with it. That's totally fine. Very excited to see her
overall
play.
Not a decent human being. So.
My dad is in the chat, and he just said Sandra, which he would vote out first, which I don't blame him for. That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
I guess who else here? I mean, the only way I'll be disappointed if like
Ben wins.
Ben is like the next, like the only other 2-time winner except for Sandra. You know what I mean? Like what a God.
For me, it would be. I hate to jump on this train, but if Ben or Michelle, I can't get behind Michelle being a 2-time winner.
Hey Tyler, can you share that picture that's in the Facebook chat that just came in? That message.
Oh my God.
Of Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Keep talking while I bring that up.
Yeah. So Allison is our resident Star Wars geek, and she felt that it was more important tonight to go to the movies.
It's uploading now. So this is where Allison is at.
Yeah.
Honestly, goals. Queen.
Yeah.
I read some Star Wars spoilers, and I can't wait to see the movie. But
can we get into that cup she's holding, the R2D2 cup?
Yeah.
Can we get into that? Yes. Whoever is working in marketing, branding, whatever,
perfect.
You win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Across the board.
Yes.
But as far as like Star Wars, this is how many fucks I give about that. I'm in my purse.
Jay West from Sequester asked, Tyler, why don't you like Ben? He commented that on my status today that he is rooting for Ben. First of all, I just have to say your opinion's trash. Sorry, not sorry.
Where's my Ben?
Oh my God.
Ben is the epitome of modern, like the issues with modern day Survivor. The fact that he he didn't have if you have to play an idol to stay in the game, to me, that's not a mark of a good player. And the fact that he did that not once, not twice, but like 3 or 4 times. And this is the same reason why I come down really hard on Mike Holloway as a winner too. That is saying that's proving that you failed at this game. You failed at making social connections. You failed at minimizing yourself as a target in this game. And, it's the same reason I hate Rick Devens, this whole going to tribal council and Ben bomb. That is not a good player. It's flashy. It's sexy from an entertaining standpoint, but it's not a good, capable player. And it's not something that can have repeated success. I'm not high on Tony as a Survivor player because I've said many times on this show, the only reason he did so well is because Trish was there to really keep him under control. And when you put him in a season without Trish, what happens? He's the second boot on Game Changers. Right. But there are some rumors out there that Tony does very well this season. We don't know how true these rumors are, but I'm hoping I don't have to eat my own words there.
Maybe learn to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, but I feel like I speak for a lot of the fandom when I say.
And isn't he the one that does the Spy Shack?
Yep.
Yes.
Maybe stop with the damn Spy Shack.
Yeah. I would probably rank Ben 38 out of the 39 winners. With Chris Underwood being 39.
No.
Absolutely. Chris Underwood was voted out of this game day 9.
No.
Yes. Yeah. There's a reason why he's not back on this season.
Tyler, he made fire.
Whoa! Congratulations. Like, do you want a cookie or a small parade? Well, actually, you get $1 million instead. That's that's what happened that season. What? God.
Okay.
I will say though, I'm happy. I feel like if Edge of Extinction is going to work, a lot of people are like upset that this is going to be on season 40. But I'm not letting that damper my hype, my excitement for.
At what point did they film that though?
Film what?
As like, because they had the first Edge of Extinction, and this one's Edge of Extinction. When did they film that?
Right at the end of Edge of Extinction.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't know exactly what happened. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think they do.
I think they do.
I think that there literally was a 2-week break from when the season ended to when they flew out to go film.
Okay.
They don't know. Like, they're not going to know that Edge of Extinction is play until Merge, just like season 38, which is good.
Right.
But
here's the thing, though. I didn't like Edge of Extinction, but I did like that I got to continue to see Aubrey and other people. So when you have,
and I think that's the point of it.
When you have a cast of people who you want, and a lot of these people, Jeff Probst has said in interviews over the past day, signed on because he was able to tell them there would be an opportunity for everybody to rejoin the game. So if they're smart and they're Survivor players and they're all winners, they're all probably thinking Edge of Extinction as they go. So they don't sign. A lot of people were saying they didn't want to get into a show of all winners, go home first, and then like not have an opportunity to come back on. So this is going to work out for both the audience because we get to see people that we haven't seen in a long time or people that we love to see. That
might have been a really divisive way to entice the winners to come back to want to play to begin.
Totally. And I also think that you also get this, if they're the winners, let's put them to the hardest test we've ever put anybody on.
Yeah. And like Rob Cesternino made this point on his finale recap that he did yesterday. But, when Chris Underwood gets voted out of the game day 9 and then comes back day 38, whatever, and wins the game, nobody cares because nobody knows this person. But like if Parvati gets voted out second and then Parvati comes back at final 5, that is still so fucking cool to me.
Now it's going to be cool.
No. I say it's cool, but if she goes on to win, she will be 38 out of 40.
She will be one step above. No, here's the thing, though. Here's what I want Survivor to fix, and I want them to fix it now. Stop putting in immunity idols at final 5.
Yeah.
Stop doing it. If somebody comes back from Edge of Extinction, they don't get an immunity idol this time. That's the only reason why Chris was able to survive.
Getting like triggered all over again.
Do not do that. When it's Island of the Idols, don't give somebody an idol at final 5. What the heck? It's not necessary for the gameplay. Or if we're going to do this, or if we're going to have idol nullifiers out there, right?
Yeah.
Make it be known because that could add some really interesting gameplay. You might not want to hold on to your idol at final 5 if people know that you have it.
Yeah.
Because you might get voted out by using it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm also really hyped about this like currency thing. Because I think if it is any season to try it, it is going to be this season with 19 capable Survivor players able to figure out how to use this to best of their advantage. Or you could just buy Ben bombs with that currency too.
That's the reason why you should get rid of Ben early. Anybody who's good at finding an idol, get rid of them early. Ben.
Just out of respect of the fans that have created your legacy, get Ben out of the game. Sorry, Jay West. Mars, we'll do one last question. Can you see Kim and Danny as close allies? I absolutely can.
I think I think everybody's going to want to work with Kim.
Oh yeah. I don't think that she's going to be like, I mean, we have such bigger personalities like Sandra, like Parvati, like Rob and Amber. It's crazy.
Amber?
Well, together with Rob.
Together.
You know? I think that there's definitely room for somebody like him to somehow play an under the radar game, which is fantastic. I think Deb bounced, but I think that's probably a good time for us to wrap this up as well. Put a nice bow on the season, put it under the Christmas tree, even though there's a little bit of coal in this season. It's probably not the best year for Survivor we've had between this and Edge of Extinction. But next year is going to be amazing between that and Australian Survivor All-Stars as well. That's going to be like equally as good, if not better. So we have a lot of good things to look forward to. So thank you, as always, Beth, for tuning in with us. And you can follow her at AugustaWin11 and follow her on Twitch as well. We need to talk about like gaming and stuff because I am a huge Nintendo person. I love playing Overwatch as well. Me and my boyfriend play Overwatch for like hours, like every night. We got to talk about that sometime soon.
Absolutely.
And Allison is seeing Star Wars tonight, but I know she wants to do a Star Wars recap probably some point in January. So be on the lookout for that. And I don't know when we'll have preseason coverage of these talking about the men, talking about the women more in length. But of course, I would love to have you on for that, Beth, because I feel like you are just as much an encyclopedia of all this crap as I am. So it always feels good to be matched with that.
Well, that's high praise saying that I match you. But thank you.
Thank you.
Love to come back. And I just want to thank you and Deb and Allison for having me this season. It's been really fun to come back, and I don't get to talk like this with other people, so it's just really nice to get everything that I have.
Definitely. One last question we have. Somebody wants to know if we're covering the circle. I would like to. I haven't watched the UK version.
I haven't either, but I would love to.
But I would love to. So we probably will. Sarahwin. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. But with that, everybody have a good rest of your evening. I hope Santa is very good to you, or whatever else you celebrate this time of year. And have a really good night, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye.